my position, so that's pretty cool. Next to me is
Pastor Cindy, ready to rock and roll about seeds and growing things.
very excellent. Now over here we have
I'm Mr. Bob. I belong to Advent Church as a member, and I'm a gardener.
Woohoo, Gardner. And then behind the camera, who you can't quite see right now, is our new summer intern, Liam. Liam, can you step forward and wave for us?
How's it going?
Excellent. Mr. Liam is our new summer intern for this year. We are so excited to have him on board. And of course, we can't forget someone else behind the camera who might make an appearance here real quick. It's Mr. Curtis! Excellent.
More jazz hands.
I'm sure that you will notice that you'll see that there actually is one more person, well, or should I say animal, who's going to be helping us this summer, and that is Oswald. Oswald, the owl, is going to be our fun summer friend through camp this summer. So, Oswald, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit to the people?
Well, hi everybody. My name is Oswald, and I'll be here with you throughout the whole summer, having some fun, doing some activities with you, and learning all about gardening, bees, nature, birds, all sorts of fun things with you through the month of June and onward into the rest of the summer. I like eating seeds, mice, and all sorts of other things I can find out in the wild. All right, so I'll hand it back to you, Ariel.
Oh, thank you so much, Oswald. It's so great to have you on board. So before we get started with some stuff this morning, I think we all need to wake up our bodies a little bit. I don't know about you, Pastor Cindy, but I didn't get to finish my coffee this morning.
Me
So
either.
I need to kind of get up and get moving. So I thought we could learn a song to sing together. So the song that I want to talk about and sing with you this morning is called We've Got the Whole World in Our Hands. And the reason that we're saying we is because it's our job, it's our responsibility to help to take care of the earth, right, Pastor Cindy?
Amen.
Exactly. So we're going to sing this song to help remind us about why we're learning about some eco stuff and how we are just here to help the earth. Oswald, can I have you take a seat for a moment?
Okay, Ariel.
Thank you so much. So it sounds a little something like this. So I will repeat, and then my amazing staff here and you faith builders at home will go ahead and repeat as well. So it starts like this. We've got the whole world in our hands. Can you give that a try? We've got the whole world in our hands. Very nice. And then we repeat that. We've got the whole world in our hands.
We got the whole world in our hands.
Very nice. And we repeat it a third time. We've got the whole world in our hands. And to finish, we've got the whole world in our hands.
That's pretty easy. I think I can do it.
You think so?
I think I
Excellent.
can.
Campers,
We'll
what
see.
about you? You think you're good to go? Excellent. Let's go ahead and sing our song
Here
together.
we go.
A one, a two, a one, two, three. We've got the
The
whole world in our hands. We've got the whole world in our hands. We've got the whole world in our hands. We've got the whole world in our hands. Very nice.
Woo!
That was excellent. We're going to sing that song a little bit here in the month of June, so be ready to sing. Now I think we're going to hear a little bit from Pastor Cindy. Pastor Cindy, what do you got for us?
Well, if you have your Spark Bible handy at home, you can take a look on page 292, and the lesson is about the sower. Jesus was telling a story about how we grow things. These people were farmers. They knew how to grow their own food. So why was Jesus telling them how to grow things? Because Jesus wants us to remember how to grow ourselves. How do we grow into strong people with really good roots? How do we grow into the kind of people that bloom with love and grace? How are we going to be the kind of people that walk in the world spreading peace and justice? That's what the story of the sower is really about. People already knew how to be gardeners. It was how to garden yourself that counted. So go ahead and read your Bible story when you have a chance. And now I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, a longtime member of Advent Church, a wonderful gardener, our pal, Mr. Bob.
Good morning, campers.
So, Mr. Bob, I have a question for you. Why do we grow our own food? Why is growing our food a good idea?
Well, growing our food is sometimes called gardening. It can be so good for us in many ways. It's more nutritious. We can include more fruits and vegetables that we like to eat in our diets. And if you can't absolutely plant a huge garden on your property or at home, you can do gardening in pots and put them outside on your deck, on your windowsill. You can plant an herb garden in your kitchen. There's many ways to be a gardener. But if you really are wanting to plant a bigger garden, there's such a thing as community gardens, and Advent does have a community garden, and it's right behind us outside.
Cool.
And it's land that we've set aside for different people, different families. We encourage families to garden, and they can grow their vegetables that they want to eat themselves. And then we also encourage people to grow food for others. Some of it's donated to food shelves and different places, and we invite other people to come, and if we have access, to share in our food. And then some gardens, some churches have gardens. I belong to a church that had a prayer garden, and it was a beautiful garden that was started by the members of the church. And one of the mementos people left had to do with peace, on kindness, forgiving, and there were benches out there that you could sit and reflect, read the scriptures. It was just a wonderful place. And so people, you don't have to raise just vegetables to eat. You can plant a garden for peace and tranquility. But gardening helps us stay active and experience things up close and personal. I bet Oswald sees a lot of things from the distance, and he can get down and see it up close and personal, and watching
I sure do, Mr. Bob.
Yes. And it's not just experiencing it on an iPod or our televisions or on our computers. We actually have a chance to get our hands and gloves dirty and to smell the earth, and I think sometimes it smells so good. We can see and touch and feel the earth as we put the plants in the ground, and then we watch the flowers grow, and we can smell the flowers as they start to bloom. Gardening lets us be outside for some sunshine and helps us grow and be happier. When we're out there, of course, we need proper sun protection. When we're out gardening, we put on sunscreen. I have a variety of hats I wear, usually when I'm gardening.
Hey, Oswald, you have a pretty cool hat too.
You
That
have
kind
a
of
very
matches.
good hat. Look at that. An organization I work with gave me a hat because I volunteer there, so I wear that sometimes when I'm gardening. As I age a little bit, I need more protection, especially on my ears, so I got a hat that covers my ears, even though I put sunscreen on my ears. It's a wonderful hat, and I do. Kind of similar to Oswald's.
A little bit. I think they look pretty cool like that, huh?
So I really love to be out in the sun, and I really wished we could have all been here today out in the sun, but we do need the rain, and that helps our garden grow. Another thing about gardening, it's better for the environment if we can grow some of our own things and not rely on everything being shipped in by trucks and trains. It helps the environment if we can be locally self-sufficient in some of our growing. And sometimes, but not always, sometimes we can save money. We can also go to farmers markets and help the local economy. There is a garden about 3 blocks from Advent that they participate in the farmers market, and we can go there and buy our locally raised vegetables, and we can support the family locally.
So, Mr. Bob, I have a question for you.
Sure.
You mentioned flowers earlier. What about them? You can't eat flowers. Why do we plant flowers?
Besides being beautiful to look at, and some flowers have the most beautiful smell and aroma, we plant flowers to attract pollinators. And it's the pollination. The pollinators help to produce the food, and not only that, it helps produce the seeds that keep the whole process going. Again, it's a lifelong process. The plants begin to grow, they mature, they produce the food. A lot of times in the food are the seeds. Sometimes we eat the seeds. Think about eating seeds. Oswald, what kind of seeds do you think you've eaten?
Maybe some nice walnuts, pecans, maybe, I don't know, some Brazil nuts.
You know what kind of seed I really like is sunflower seeds.
Love
A lot of
sunflower
times
seeds.
I plant sunflowers just for the seeds. And you can toast them, you put a little salt on them, put it in the oven, and you make your own sunflower seeds. The bad habit I have eating seeds is I eat the whole thing and chew it all up and swallow everything, and some people. But the other habit, some people don't like, what do you do with the outside of the seed sometimes? How do you get rid of that seed?
You know, I'm not gonna lie, Mr. Bob. Sometimes I kind of just throw them on the
Sometimes we
ground.
do. And depending on where we're at, we have to get rid of that seed in different ways. But
Sure.
I don't spit them out like some people.
Ugh,
We can't
Ew.
do that all the time.
that's not a very nice thing to
That
do,
is
it?
not a nice thing, but I love to eat sunflower seeds. And we plant these for pollination, and bees are the most well-known pollinators. And bees are flying to our plants and our flowers to eat and drink the nectar. And while they're doing that, they're flying from flower to flower and spreading pollen. That pollen is necessary to help the fruit or the vegetable grow.
Okay.
And we do need pollinators and other bugs too. When I started gardening, I didn't know the difference between good bugs and bad bugs. And there are things for a gardener that we have to know the difference between good bugs and bad bugs. For a gardener, this book is divided into two sections, the beneficial ones and the one we call pests.
Oof.
And sometimes for the life of me, I think, what in the world did God make this kind of bug that does not have a use? It has a use for something, but not for me as a gardener. So a lot of times I'll see holes in the leaves of my plants, and I'm wondering what that is, so I'll go out and try to find that bug. Sometimes I just have to pick it off. I don't like to use a lot of chemicals and a lot of sprays on my plants, especially if I'm going to eat the vegetables. So a lot of times I just pick them off and get them out of there. I wash them off with soapy water, and sometimes I just make the environment that they just don't like to be there, and it leaves my plant alone.
Mr. Bob, do you at least wear gloves when you're picking up the bugs,
Oh,
or do you
that's
pick
another
them
good
off
thing.
by yourself? Because I don't know about you campers, but I'm not touching any bugs with my bare hands.
I make-
Not me.
I usually make my grandkids do that.
Oh, goodness.
But what makes my grandkids happy to help garden is we have different kind of gloves they
Oh,
can pick
cool.
every time. They see, and there's really nice gardening gloves, and they protect your hands. And some parents have a problem with their kids having dirty fingernails. I think dirty fingernails usually are a sign of working in the garden and being active. So I don't mind a little dirty fingernail now and then. See, those are look at my gloves there. They've been well used, haven't they?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we have to know the difference between good bugs and bad bugs, and we encourage pollinators to come and pollinate our plants, and so we can raise the food and also get more seeds and keep the plant life cycle going. The seeds come in all shapes and sizes.
Oh, sure.
And one of the biggest seeds, I didn't realize it was the seed, is a coconut. If you've gone to the store and see a whole coconut, it almost looks like a bowling ball or a big softball.
Coconuts are pretty big, and they hurt when they hit you in the head.
And when we talked before about eating seeds, and we talked mostly about nuts, and like sunflower seeds, sometimes peanuts, somebody said walnuts, hazelnuts we eat. But some of the seeds, we don't realize they're seeds. If you take a strawberry, where's the strawberry seeds?
Oh, I think they're on the outside of the fruit, right?
Right, on the red part usually, there's little
Yeah.
seeds.
Those are seeds?
Yes.
So
those
I'm
are
eating
seeds.
strawberry seeds all the
Right.
time? Oh, man. Am I going to grow a strawberry inside of me, Mr. Bob?
Probably not.
Oh, phew. Man, that would not be good.
We're going to talk about how the environment, when you want to grow seeds, they have to have just the right temperature
Okay.
and the right growing environment. But we eat some seeds, and some we can eat. Some we don't want to eat. Some are hard to eat, like the inside of some fruits. They don't encourage us to eat, like a peach pit, the big part inside a peach,
Ooh.
or an apricot.
Mhm.
And some of those can give off a different type of chemical. And I think part of that is nature's way of making the fruit not attractive to other wildlife, so the fruit can just keep its life going without interruption. So we talked about the seeds coming in all shapes and sizes, and their mission is the same: to make a new plant. Each seed contains the beginnings of a new plant, and in order to do that, there needs to be certain conditions. And there needs to be water, some seeds, and light. Some need the light, some don't. And the temperature needs to be just comfy and toasty. It needs to be just right, kind of like how you want to feel at night in your own room, or you're on the couch with an Afghan over you. Once you feel comfy, you're ready to do something. And some seeds need to travel to find those just
Whoa.
right.
What? Hey, you travel. Wait,
Conditions.
Oswald, come back. What? Where are we going? Uh-oh. I don't like this. So, seeds have to travel, Mr. Bob says. So how are the different ways that a seed can travel?
Well, when seeds are old enough and mature, they
Okay.
travel in different ways.
Right.
Some of them, like oak trees, produce their seeds, and they get rid of their seeds and spread their seeds by the drop method.
Oh!
They
Oh!
just drop straight down,
Oh, that would hurt a little bit, I think.
and many of those seeds will sprout and start growing.
Oh. Well, that's good at least. Whew.
Some of those seeds will be spread with animals and
Oh.
just by other means.
Gotcha.
Another way that some certain seeds will multiply and give out their seeds is called the ballistic or the missile, where the parent plant will put out a pod and explode, and the seeds, like milkweed seeds, go
Oh,
all over. You can see them in the sky.
it's hurting my abs. Oh, oh
The
man.
last couple weeks around Egan, I've noticed little tiny specks that look like white cotton floating around.
They're just floating.
And what that is, mainly it's the cottonwood tree, and a lot
Okay.
of them are along the rivers. And the
Sure.
Minnesota River has many cottonwood trees. And they've decided it's time to release their seeds, and they need to find a new place to sprout. And those seeds are traveling because there is wind, and
There's
wind is
wind?
a great. Look at this. Yes, you travel with wind. That's cottonwood seeds. Different kinds.
Turn
Have you ever
that
been
loud.
outside and you saw something that looked like a little helicopter falling down, flying, or a little disc? Those are maple and ash trees. Different trees release their seeds differently. And then, like I talked before, coconut seeds.
Coconuts.
Coconuts grow maybe on an island or maybe next to an ocean, and those coconut seeds drop, but they're close to a water source, and they need water to travel. So look at those seeds traveling with water. Oh, but think if I were a coconut seed, I'd like to leisurely float down the river, on the lake.
Leisurely, I could like in a lazy river, like with an inner tube and lemonade in my hand.
And in another
That's
way,
nice.
you've seen how other seeds can travel. In my yard, I've wondered sometimes I see a squirrel all of a sudden digging a hole or having a seed in its mouth, and it could be a walnut, and that squirrel is burying its seeds. And I don't think the squirrel, I really don't think the squirrel is saying, I'm going to plant another walnut tree here. The squirrels are saving that, burying that for their food during the winter. And sometimes the squirrel forgets where they put their food, and so that starts to grow as another tree. And so also, I was going to say that humans spread seeds also. And just last weekend, was about 200 miles north of here, and we were at Little Birch Lake, and I parked my pickup by some trees, and when I got back here to Egan, inside the pickup box, whoops, were little pine cones, and they fell off the trees from Little Birch Lake 200 miles away. So I brought them 200 miles to Egan.
Cool.
Cool.
That's some great planning strategy there, Mr. Bob. I love that.
So that's one way. And then some seeds have little stickers like Velcro or little burrs on them. And so they're traveled by they cling on to dogs or they cling on to animals, and it's just sticky. And there's a sticky part of them, and when they rub up against something, the seeds go onto them, see?
Yeah, see.
So animals and humans with the burrs can.
Gotcha.
But one thing that happens once the seeds are delivered and they travel is the germination and sprouting process. And for that we need water, the right temperature,
Right.
sometimes light. Most often it happens just underground. Now seeds have a hard shell on the outside. Like that, very much like that, a hard shell. And during the sprouting process, they need the water, and the hard shell starts to soften a little bit.
Faith builders, I'm gonna need a little bit of help here.
And I said the seed needs to be comfy. Most seeds
Right.
like to be right on the ground,
Comfy?
or a little underneath the ground.
All right.
So
Campers,
the right
let's practice
temperature
being
is
seeds.
maintained.
Oh, here we go.
And the
All
first
right.
thing that happens is a root starts to grow. And then another root starts to grow.
Ow.
And then it starts getting a little bit upright. And one stem starts to come up and looking for light up above ground.
Ooh, ooh, there's some light. I like it. It feels warm. Ooh.
And all of a sudden, the sprout comes above the ground. It's waving, looking for sunlight. And once these seeds start sprouting and there's some green leaves coming, they are seeking the sun, because the sun helps them to grow.
Yeah.
And that's the germination sprouting process. So we can watch this process, we can make this process happen. Pastor Cindy is going to talk about sprouting our own seeds.
Amen. Hello, campers. I hope you have your white bag handy inside this white bag. And don't worry, if you forgot to pick yours up or you didn't know there was supposed to be a white bag, you can come by later. Just follow along right now, and you can do it later. Reach into your bag, and inside your bag should be one of these. This is pretty old-fashioned. It's called a CD, compact disc. It's an old CD case, and inside the case you will find, if I can get it open, I never could open these things very well. You're going to open your case, and there's a paper towel. You're going to put the paper towel in the case, and where'd that water bottle go, that spray bottle? I need that. Okay. You're going to add just a little bit of water. You want the paper towel to be damp, but not soaking wet. So that's why the spray bottle works, or use your faucet, but just get the towel a little bit wet, and then reach into your bag, and in here you will find some seeds. You're going to want three zucchini seeds. So you open up your seed packet. So,
Other bag.
anyway, you put your seeds onto the paper towel, close up your CD case, and wait for it to sprout. Once your seeds have sprouted, you can plant them in the ground, in your garden, or in a pot, and grow your own zucchini. That's how you can start some seeds at home.
Okay, let's review this sprouting process. Kids, you can also pretend you're a seed and can sprout. We saw how the seeds sprout. Let's do a demonstration with the kids. They can, if you want to get down on your floors or on your couch, and you can be a seed that sprouts. The first thing, let's do the drop method. You drop down your seed. And we are hoping that the conditions are just right. You feel moist enough, you feel warm enough. Now, you're going to grow your first root. Take one of your legs and put it out and stretch it a little bit. You're feeling good. You're growing a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, to get a better base on this stem, you're going to grow another root. Get your other leg out. And now you're kind of going to roll over on your knees. Get upright with your knee. Now, you've got a good base. Your roots are starting to grow. Raise your first stem. And if you're looking for the sun, you're pushing up through that dirt and the soil. And the first leaves start showing. Wow! You wave to the sun and you wave to the person that planted you, and you say thank you and thank you, God, I have life. And if you wait a couple more days, another stem starts showing, and you get your first leaves and your second leaves, and all of a sudden you are tall.
Parents who are watching with your campers at home, I invite you to take pictures or videos of your student becoming a beautiful plant from a seed and share them, and we'll share them on our Facebook page.
Thank you. You now know the germination sprouting process.
I feel nice and stretched out now. Ugh.
And now it's time to reach into your bag once again, because Mr. Bob is going to talk to us about how we plant vegetables and flowers. You should have in your bag one of these little pots. It's called a peat pot, and it's a peat pot because it'll dissolve into the ground. So this is what we're going to plant our zucchini in. But before I plant my zucchini in it, I drew pictures on it. I don't know how to draw zucchini, so I just drew a flower on mine. But if you have markers at home, you can draw whatever. And we will use that to plant our zucchini. You will have a clay pot like this, which you can also use your Sharpie and decorate your clay pot any way you like. Here's a tip. Decorate first before you put the soil in the pot. If you put the soil in the pot and you try to decorate, well, what's going to happen? Yeah, it isn't going to be pretty. So, there's your pots. You should have in your bag 2 bags of soil. 1 for each pot. And then you have your seeds. So we have our zucchini seeds and our zinnia seeds. And the zinnia seeds will go in this pot because they're flowers. The cucumber seeds, or
Zucchini.
Zucchini seed.
it's zucchini, right?
It's
I
zucchini.
don't know much about vegetables.
They kind of look the same.
They kind of look the same, but they make great bread. Zucchini makes great bread. Cucumbers doesn't. I don't know that much. And you're going to use this for your zucchini. So, Mr. Bob, I got my stuff.
Well, we can
Now,
start.
what do I do?
I thought I'd put some gloves on. We'll see. Sometimes it's hard to manipulate the little seeds with gloves on. But you know, with this soil, sometimes I'm not quite sure what all is in the soil, but I like to wear gloves when I'm working with soil, but sometimes it's hard. I don't have a little shovel or a trowel that I'm going to just pour some seeds in here. Now, it's good to have this on a saucer or a little plastic lid
Oh,
from
there's a hole in the bottom.
and that's good. It needs to have a hole in it.
Oh.
But if you're doing this at home, either get a paper towel or a saucer or a dish to put your plant on. And the first thing you want to do is put about half or 3/4 maybe of the pot full of your soil. And I'm just going to dump in there. And now you have 2 pots with you.
Should I pour the other one? Or do we want to wait?
No, you can.
Okay. I don't have gloves. Do I
Well,
have
see-
to have gloves?
No, you don't have to have gloves.
Good.
My family just likes me without dirty fingernails all the time, and I'm going out to lunch afterwards, so
Oh,
maybe they would help me.
yeah.
So,
Sure thing.
see, I went about 3/4 full. one
Did
thing
I
you
put
can
too
do,
much in this
no,
one?
if you have 2 pots,
Okay.
you can just tap it down a little bit because the soil should be a little bit firm.
I never knew that.
Just tap it down.
You learn something new every day, campers.
I could have a little more in this pot. This should be very good food for our seedlings because it looks really like rich, full of food. Now, on many packs of seeds, it'll tell you how deep to plant them. You don't have those directions on your package, and I'll give you a general rule of if you have seeds. I talked about tiny strawberry seeds. If you were going to plant strawberry seeds, which most of us don't plant them, we get the plants from the nursery. But you put the seeds, if they're so tiny, you almost just lay them and don't bury them in the soil. But if the seeds are bigger, like your zucchini seeds are, you want to just put the seed about the depth of how tall the seed is. And sometimes, if you take your finger and use your little fingernail, how big your finger is, poke a hole, or you can either take a pen, like here, and just put one in about as deep as your fingernail is.
Would a popsicle stick work too?
A popsicle
I have a
stick
lot of
would
those.
work.
Oh, good.
But I like to use something like this that's round and you get, and then we're going to plant 3 seeds. So I like to put 3 holes in there that are kind of far apart. Almost looks like a bowling ball with the holes. And then you take your seeds, drop them in to the hole. Pack them down a little bit. Now, if you happen to have a spray bottle, which is great, you can spray the seeds so they start to get their moisture. Or if you just have like a glass of water or a little watering can, just pour a little bit on the sides where the seeds aren't. You don't want to wash the seeds down.
They don't want to be really wet.
No.
You don't want to give the seeds a bath, right?
They don't get it back.
Oh.
Then you just cover the seeds. Now sometimes, depending on how big your seed is, sometimes you'll need to pour a little bit more on it, but we don't because we're able to just cover it just with the right amount. So that's that seed. And then the zinnia seeds,
They're kind of littler, aren't
they're
they?
littler and they don't have to go as deep. Sometimes I lay the seeds on top of the soil so I can see them, and I'll see if I can tip this and show you where they are. And then I just push the seeds down a little ways. They don't have to go very deep. A little ways with either a pencil eraser. Now see, you can still see the seeds. And then I just brush the soil right over them. And then I give it a little spritz bath, just a little bit. Now it's very important that every day you check your pots and make sure they don't dry out completely. They need moisture. That's one of the things they need. They'll need the moisture to sprout. Once they sprout, they'll need, or they also need the temperature, the right temperature. And in your house would be a good temperature. And once they sprout, you'll need to give them light, either in a sunny windowsill or an extra light you can hang above it. But most of the time, if you just put these in your windowsill. Now, you need to know which is which. And I don't know, you did label these?
I put a flower on the
Oh, the flower.
on the vegetable. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. We have ours, we know ours are mixed up.
Ours are mixed up, but I couldn't
We should have
draw
put our
it.
marker. Oh, these are a little bit large for our pots. aren't they?
Yeah, that's okay.
These are what I've had out in the garden. These
So
crater ones.
I have it backwards. So this is the zinnia, and that's the zucchini. Oops, Faith Builders, I told you I didn't know much about gardening.
Now, it may take a few days for these to start. Be patient, and all seeds don't sprout. We try to hope they all do, but the way nature is, a tree produces thousands and thousands of seeds, and we don't get thousands and thousands of trees. If all the seeds sprouted and grew, what would happen?
Whoa.
I want to show you some seeds I planted. It was about 2 weeks ago. They're really little, and they're made in Minnesota. midget melons, and they're really small. And about 2 weeks ago, I planted them, and see, they're just starting to grow. And this is what your seedlings will look like. You'll get 2 little leaves first, and now it needs to go to the sun. And as the sun helps it with food, more leaves will grow. And this is a vine, so it'll start vining around. So once you get a couple inches on your plant, then you can just plant the peat pot, or you can just grow this in a larger pot, move the whole plant into a larger pot, or you can take it outside and just put it in the garden. And that is basically how we plant. Now, one other thing, when you choose your vegetables, I really think that you need to know how to cook them and how to eat them. I like this book. It's called The Complete Cookbook for Young Chefs, and it teaches you how to prepare your vegetables and how to cook, and you can prepare meals for your whole family. But go to the library and get a book, or go on the internet and search for how to prepare your vegetables, because it's no use of just planting it and letting it go to waste, or else if you don't want to eat them, donate them to the food shelf. So that is basically how we're going to do this. You have to be patient, and you have to care for these plants. Water them. Once they sprout, put them in the light, keep them warm, and you will have success.
Very awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Bob, for showing us how to plant. I'm so excited for our campers to get to have some of their own vegetables and flowers. Woo! And then we'll get to see some of these cool things in our community garden right outside. You know, I know that we're all kind of doing some social distancing stuff here, and that's super awesome, but if you're ever on a walk outside and you pass by Advent, go ahead and take a look out there at that garden and see what's there. Pastor Cindy, what's that in your hand?
Well, I wanted to show this to our campers, because here's another way you can garden, and it's all inside. I bought some celery about a week and a half ago. When I cut it off, I put the root end into some water, and I'm going to bring it close to the camera so maybe you can see where the roots are starting to grow. But here's the thing. These celery tops, you can put these in a salad. You can just eat them. They're going to taste like celery. They're good for you. It's another way to grow food. It's called hydroponics. You might want to look that one up. It's pretty cool. And there's lots of seeds you can do that with.
Pastor Cindy, did we include one other activity in our bag?
I almost forgot.
Because let me tell you, I've been really curious to open up this garage door and see. Oh, did it get moved? Oh,
well,
what?
the wind got a hold of it. But in your bag for today, you will find everything you need to make a rain gauge.
Woo-hoo!
Now, here's the thing. Campers, you're going to need a grown-up's help with this. Because cutting out that foil that's in there and decorating it and gluing, that's kind of one of those jobs that needs a grown-up help. But you can make your very own rain gauge, put it outside, and you'll be able to measure how much rain has happened overnight. I do wonder, I looked at my pot that I leave out. I have a rain saucer, or a pot saucer that I put outside for the birds, because I like to give birds water when it's hot and dry. And there was over an inch in there, so I think we had quite a bit of rain yesterday.
So it's probably good that we weren't outside today and all the wet grass and mud and
I know, I really wanted to see our campers and hang out, but I hope you enjoyed having this time together in this new way.
I know I sure did. But hey, next week is a brand new week.
I'm so
If it's
excited.
sunny next week, you were telling me we were going to do some fun stuff with campers. Can you guess what she's doing? Any guesses? Yeah, I think you're right. It looks like she's being a bird. Are we talking about birds next week?
Yes, bird camp next week. We're gonna have binoculars. We're gonna put our listening ears on. We're gonna see how many birds we can see around where we are.
Oswald,
I'm so excited.
you're a bird, aren't you?
Well, yes, I am.
So are you gonna help us learn about birds then next week too?
Oh, for sure. I'll be here next week to help you learn about birds like me.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Thank you so much. Maybe we'll see some new bird friends too. Pastor Cindy, should we maybe pray all together before we close for the day?
Why don't we do that? It's always nice to end our time together with a prayer. So
Okay.
find a way to be comfortable as you pray. You know, you can fold your hands, you can close your eyes, you can leave your eyes wide open, your hands up. There are so many ways we can pray and give thanks to God. So here, let's pray together. Oh God,
Oh God,
thank you
thank you
for the gift of new friends
for the gift of new friends.
like Mr. Bob,
Like Mr. Bob.
for the gift
For the gift
of flowers that bloom
of flowers that bloom.
and vegetables to eat.
And vegetables to eat.
All of this
All of this
is part of your beautiful creation.
is part of your beautiful creation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amen?
Amen.
Amen.